in the last round, B was able to take him out. Instead, now it's MarineLorD's opportunity to return the favor and push B down into that lower bracket swiftly. Let's see if he can turn it into a 2-0, or if B can begin to turn it around.
Yeah, and here it is. We already heard that lovely sound of the sheep coming in.
Beckons you in. So it invites you into the map. They don't realize that it's probably going to be their final bar, though, right? With 12 villages, these guys get clubbed down quite fast.
Yes, quite quickly, and an early barracks dropped from MarineLorD. No stone being taken, military school not being invested into because he has a bigger focus at hand. That would delay up water way too much, and the 1 or 2 spears slowly coming out is not important enough right now. He needs more tempo, needs more of that aggression.
And if this does turn into a me build spear, you build spear, ugh type kind of clash for 5-10 minutes, it actually favors the Ottomans, because eventually feudal age comes in for both, and if you're the Ottoman player, you can just pick up a meta, right? Usually you have if you end up building 10-12 spearmen, you've probably already got a point saved to immediately spawn one, and at that stage, like, B hasn't really got great options, right? I think even things like the Magadai, where they used to be a cool kind of pivot, they don't really function well anymore. We have to remember Magadai got the movement speed nerfed to 1.56, and something crazy to think about is Spearmen, I believe when they charge, they can essentially gap close on those units now.
Yeah, it really did make a huge difference. Didn't seem like too much when you were reading it at first, and really does make Magadai way less effective. And a lot of times that unit seen a lot more in team games than solos, but still quite effective when it used to be so strong.
Yeah, it's because, like, typically, you know, I think a Spearman goes up to, is at 1.44 when they charge, so that would be slower than Magadai. But there's a weird behavior with the metas where the movement speed from formation can hold on units. So, for example, I've seen knights that are charging at 2 movement speed. I think it's like 2 point, they go up to like 2.16 or something, which admittedly doesn't matter because the game engine is capped at 2 movement speed, but it's still fast enough to gap close on any unit in the game. So metas are a clunky unit, Dabston. I think a lot of people are still waiting for them to get a little tweak here and there because there's a lot of weird little tricks that you can utilize with this civ.
Yep. And in this game, we got both players investing into spears, but yet again, MarineLorD on the water and B not opting for it. MarineLorD's already circled around, kind of scouted that out, and think he would find himself feeling pretty solid when you are on the fishing and your opponent is not.
Is B... Where is...
Oh,
sorry,
my gosh.
Is this a makeshift outpost that I'm looking at here? B has sacrificed so much eco development to move this TC across the map.
And the question is will it just be dropped right on top of that dock?
Wait. Hear me out. Go even deeper, right? Just go all the way to his base. You're in for a penny, in for a pound right now. He won't be body blocked, though. That's the good news.
Oh, was quite close to MarineLorD spotting that out and denying it, but not quite able to get there. Jumps inside, doing the old classic TC rush. But there is a circle around your opponent's base that you are not able to get inside with your main initial TC.
Like, how close is it, though? Because I always forget. Could he get to the tree lines?
No. He could get to the second tree line maybe, but like the edge of it, I think that's about where the range would be.
I think it's sad that we had to solve this problem by putting a weird kind of trivial artificial barrier in, right? Like,
well, I will say that that TC pull leaves his villagers exposed at home. So maybe MarineLorD has the idea, sees the spears burning the dock, and says, all right, well, you've invested into that. I'm headed towards your Uvu, or more importantly, headed towards the vills on gold and wood at home. And well, at the old home, I guess I should say.
Yeah. The ones that got left behind. They were too old or frail to go on this long journey. And you can see B is already paranoid because MarineLorD's other play, instead of just going for the back eco, would have been, fine, I'm just going to go on the other lake, right? He doesn't want that to happen because if he has to pack this TC up and move it again, you start to reach a point where it actually doesn't matter that you've blocked these lakes because MarineLorD's advantage in terms of villager count will start to escalate to a point where he can just zerg you in feudal.
Yeah, the good thing for B is he has spotted out the spears headed towards his base. MarineLorD sees all the villagers. B knows it has been spotted out, has spearmen being produced, and has spearmen running there. My guess, if I know B, the Vills are about to pull their shivs out in a little bit once his spearmen get there, and it's just going to be a big fight. And MarineLorD knows it's coming, knows that he can't take that, and is just fine with the idle time for the time being, as he is losing the numbers now.
He's actually fine with the way it's playing out because right now they're kind of similar amount of spears chasing around. The maneuver arrow got used prematurely. Well, I say prematurely. It got used at a point where you wouldn't be able to do any real damage with it. And now he can just kind of continue to stockpile spears away from this, right? And get to a point where you can turn this into multi-raiding groups. Like, B's issue is he's kind of awkwardly stuck in this age. And if MarineLorD does get back around to that starting location, I don't really see a world in which B easily gets access to gold.
Yeah, not only that, we see MarineLorD starting the age up and has effectively delayed B's just a little bit. B might have gone back onto the sheep instead of the gold there by accident. I'm not sure. A little bit heavier on the food than he meant to be. And the twin minaret madrasa is on the way, almost halfway up. And that will give him some nice extra safe food eco now that he's been denied off of that fishing.
It's problematic still for B, though. Likely to be a minute and a half behind MarineLorD. No pun intended on that one. But now look at this other detail. I wonder what MarineLorD would do with his early points of Vizier. Instead of going for a meta play, he got the imams, which means he can just get it on the eco, and B can't do anything about this. He hasn't begun his tech up. Even once he does, he has to build an archery range. And now his spearmen are completely worthless because one side has healing, AoE healing at that, and the other does not.
Yeah, it can absolutely take any of these fights as long as the imams are circled, as long as the imams do stay alive and aren't focused down, because that AoE healing is just so strong.
And weirdly
waiting
enough,
for Spearman upgrade to come on through before any fight gets taken. Make sure to push forward, keep those imams alive. Be going for the circle around, trying to get on top of the imams fast. He's on top of the first two, and he's about to get the first one down, getting the second as well, and it was... Oh, still not quite there.
He'll finish it off.
So effective.
He gets it, but here's the issue here, right? Like, he's outnumbered. This is a brilliant idea by MarineLorD, but because he's outnumbered, he needs to play towards a choke point for this to really work out. Brilliant read by B to snipe out the imams. That's now a wasted Vizier council point. However, it was a pricey endeavor for B. He had to continuously invest in these spears, and by doing so, he has once again delayed his feudal timing.
Yes, he has. And the question is how will MarineLorD punish that? B hasn't gotten that lake secured for himself, so is getting some extra eco back that he lost from the town center being rolled. Won that huge fight with the spears and doesn't care about the quality that MarineLorD had with the upgrade. It is all about quantity. MarineLorD sending another raid through, though.
That's what I was looking at. If you look at the count at the top, you look at this fight like, where's MarineLorD's army? But they're not interested in this. You know, if you think about what MarineLorD's been doing that backside, he rarely was trying to take a main skirmish. It's just been wasting a lot of time at B. The only upside for B is MarineLorD is running back to his base. The question is whether there's really anything that B can now target with all these spearmen.
Yeah, I'm not seeing too much. Looks like MarineLorD is on some stone to the northern side. Might want to drop a dock, try to get some counter to B's fishing. But another Spearman fight coming in. This is one that I don't think B is going to want to take. Spearmen have gotten a lot lower health, and the quality is on MarineLorD's side.
Okay, it's finally happening. B, he has so much banked, but he wasn't building up in the deer stone. It's finally on the way, though. You know, perplexing situation for him. Although he got this fishing going, it got slowed down a little bit, right? He got sniped on the side. Now, I'm curious to see whether MarineLorD, with already showing a few archers, is going to move out into the northern pond. It should be a free extension that B can't interrupt now that archers are in play alongside that meta.
Yeah, it does look like, does B have a, yeah, B already has a dock on that northern pond, could get denied quite quickly as doesn't have a ton of defense for it if, just how you said, MarineLorD pushes up with those archers, starts clearing out some spearmen and pushing B away from that side. MarineLorD easily would be able to fully secure that north side. But again, I'm more worried about all those villagers left at home, just finished up the deer stones. MarineLorD is content with headed back that way again, just idling those units out and potentially trying to get an Uvu in the long run.
Yeah, it's interesting MarineLorD used the second batch of spears to prioritize the eastern pond instead of coming back here. I think his suspicion was that B was going to build his landmark where his TC is now located. But as we can see, that's not the case. It is going to be a problem, though, because you've got all these villagers, you can run around in circles with Deerstone, but ultimately, you have nowhere to hide, and now also, where your TC is, where the safe place is, you have no way of buffing the movement speed of your villagers and units.
And there goes the archer range that just got dropped. Barracks looks like it might be the focus right after that. And B, production buildings he's investing into just getting thrown right down the drain. He better hope he is getting some damage on the other side with that spearman.
He's getting no damage. He's getting no, this is the spearman. They're on patrol. They're just ignoring the problems that exist in the world. I mean, B, he's at least getting enough wood together. He needs to set up an outpost on this front side, I think. He's going to need the movement speed to try and be annoying in the face of his opponent. He has to admit that everything's been lost at home. And the surprising part is instead of just going towards the safety of the TC, B is still trying to be optimal. He's still gathering resources away from his base.
Oh, could have denied the
RNG, RNG.
Oh, no way. Gets the Bill to finish it off, but the Bill isn't what he needed at the end. He needed to deny it before the dock got up.
Dude, archer ships really are just painful to use sometimes. Like, did you see how many times he was just potato aiming that archer? Like, sure, he should have been targeting the villager first, but like, if he had even 50% accuracy through that engagement, he probably would have turned on the villager in time. Instead, now, B kind of has a perplexing issue. Not only is he idled on land, but he's threatened on water. This game is going from worse to worse for him.
Yeah, having to head for the hills, heading all the way towards MarineLorD's base with that group of vills. He does have the security of his main TC that moved forward, does have a few archer ships that have pushed out as well, and going to try to split those spears around the dock to make that archer ship less effective and deny that dock before it becomes even more of a nuisance.
Oh, this damage will add up into the land fight, though. Like, more archer ships are going to come after this. You can see MarineLorD, like, he's not trying to jump in range, but the demo ship coming out.
Not quite able to connect, but those are so beautiful when they do get a good connection. Meta and main army mass of MarineLorD, though, starting to get to looking quite scary. Does have that, I believe, meta point now and trying to start to put some pressure on the other side pond.
Yeah, honestly, the only thing MarineLorD needs to do now is just mass archers. Just build as many as possible, because then you can pepper down these archer ships as well as take the main fights. It's problematic right now on the side of BB, who did just lose the Khan as well. And look at the pinch around the back. He just has to run away. He's going to sacrifice several spears on the retreat. Now, he does have some archers to defend with, and he has, of course, got the outpost up, which means he has the movement speed. As already highlighted, with the meta in play, MarineLorD has that movement speed too.
Yeah, not only that, the outpost, though, for B, giving him a significant amount of vision into MarineLorD's base, and MarineLorD trying to sneak out and dock that other side pond to deny even more of B's fishing. Ooh,
yeah,
fight going in.
I mean, there's so many spears. There's just so many spears, DrDabston. You can't rely on an outpost to protect you here.
No, not at all. B trying to climb with those archer numbers, but you can't forget his initial range right when he was ready to start pumping up his military got denied with that push from MarineLorD, and another fight attempting to come in, and B looking to get some return damage on the wood line. MarineLorD reacts quickly and just pushes on in, and that might just be a group of lost spears.
He lost the meta. He lost the meta as well. So MarineLorD doesn't want to fight anymore. He needs to go kind of full turtle until he feels like he has enough archers. We can see by the count, B has a clear edge here. He's been doubling down. He's been gathering wood here and abroad, right? At this point, not only is he deforesting this map, he's probably deforesting the Amazon jungle somewhere else also.
But you just said once he has enough archers, the problem, look at MarineLorD's wood in the bank. He has 4. He is having to move all the way to the opposite side wood line with that huge mass of vills. And B should be able to have that exact knowledge. He knows that MarineLorD is having to go get wood from somewhere, starting to push up onto the deer that he spotted earlier, and starting to get a bigger mass that's quite scary. And B is against all odds, is starting to look like he has MarineLorD on his heels.
the tough part here is he just had so many spears. Like, he needed to be switching to Sapahi probably about 2 minutes ago. It's a tough one, though, because of the build he went with where he maxed out on spears in the early ages, he already had all these Raxas that he wanted to put to good use, right? Military schools was slow to switch over as well because he felt that the archers were higher value. It's just a tough situation to be in. I think B just read this and is now one step ahead, and you can just see it in the raw count. Even with that meta attack speed aura, MarineLorD will still lose a fight if he takes it head on.
Yeah, it's funny. We've condensed the whole entire map basically to one little corner with both town centers. Villager popped out, went to that other wood line, and goes down. Might not think like it's much, but MarineLorD starting to get kind of nickeled and dimed here and losing out in the eco to B, and that will start adding up quickly. B, though, forced off of that front wood line and might be heading
Straggler trees? Oh, no.
Was that, yeah, Stealth Forest. Stealth Forest is the wood line that B has opted for next.
And by the way, this is going to get bad for him because, you know, MarineLorD looks like he's on the back foot, but the issue with B's comp is, like, he can win a battle outside the base, but he can't dive the base with just archers. And MarineLorD has carefully been gathering up the resources required for Castle Age. Now, B does have a window of opportunity if he spots the tech up early or right at the beginning, but he needs to be fast. If he waits just 30 seconds and those upgrades on the archers come through, this will be a complete wipe.
Yeah, this is looking really scary. And what is it, 2 minutes? And there will start being a mangonel popping out of the Imperial Armory, but a good amount of Vills taken out on those front deer will lose some tempo once that Castle Age finishes on up.
That was brilliant from MarineLorD. Do you see what he done there? He sees the villagers are going to be harassed, right? Instead of pulling them all the way back, obviously garrison the outpost, but then he postures the army. B would have dove deeper and spotted the tech up and then committed, but instead he retreated, and now he is in a bad position, right? He's about 20 seconds worse off than what he otherwise would have been. But he will commit now. Attack speed arrow is going to come out. Looks to instantly snipe out the meta. And upgrades are on the way, but MarineLorD is at least a good 30 seconds out from this. The problem, however, for B is he has to prioritize the spearmen before he turns on the archers. So it's likely MarineLorD's upgrades will be coming through.
Yeah, still just kind of moving, kiting more and further into that economy, trying to get away from that Aeroslit's tower, but still taking a decent little fight against those archers. But MarineLorD, veteran upgrade about to come through, and has the numbers now over B, who will find himself struggling to defend Castle Age units with knights on the way as well.
I shudder to think how many units died to that tower, right? Arrow slits upgrade, also the piercing projectile upgrade, like the amount of damage coming out with 5 garrison villages. It's perplexing for B. He's in this awkward situation now. Like, he's going to have to go for some sort of transition. He's trying to go towards a Castle Age, but you know, usually, Dabston, when you go for a Castle Age reaction like this, you do it safely in your base. What happens when your base is their base?
Yeah, and MarineLorD might have spotted out some of those gold vills on the southern side with his wood vills. I'm not sure if an outpost is going up on the south, but B has a significant amount of vills down there and losing the fight on the mid map, which is losing the control that he had forward. And that's very, very bad considering his whole entire base is forward.
I mean, the crazy part is just how MarineLorD has forfeited water the entire time, right? He's never really been able to get on it, and yet, still, he looks so dominantly ahead. Even when I look at the eco situation, like it's a bit of a debate. And B, now going for this Crow type play, you know, sometimes you do this for a position of strength to kind of like double down. This is more B just realizing he's going to be a full disadvantage if he doesn't do this, right? He needs presence to defend his base quickly. In fact, the fact that he's building the Crow type back here is merely because all of his villagers are back here. If they were near the TC, he'd prefer that it was where his base is located.
Benefit for B, though, reaches Castle Age, does have a significant amount of resources in the bank. You can see the difference in the food income of how that fishing is paying off, but doesn't have a lot of time to be able to defend that fishing now.
Yeah, I mean, the fishing might still go on. I think the bigger deal is MarineLorD just wants to get into the base, right? Either that, or you just get a few knights out and skirt the flanks. Because one big issue with this front side that I think MarineLorD is fully aware of is, you know, that gold closest to the TC where B dropped his never got mined. So where has he been getting gold?
Yeah, and that was exactly where I think MarineLorD spotted out with the good old tower there, and MarineLorD dodges the demo ship that pops out with his archers and dropping 2 docks of his own. We saw how effective the good old emplacement upgrades can be on docks before, and another demo ship though. Oh my.
Okay. He has still got a dock there, though, right? So, like, B, it's a good start, but he needs to kind of maintain control there. It does give him a slight increase in his lead in terms of villages, right? So he'll be happy with this. But the problem is now, just because of these occasional boats coming out, he has to keep sidestepping from a land force to invest into defending his navy again.
Exactly, and MarineLorD is taking this kind of mid-map too and choking B to where he can't really move out anywhere. Can't protect his north side dock, can't protect and get over to where his units are at the Kurultai because he's got 2 outposts there. Kurultai has to move back, and MarineLorD has the dock on that side with the emplacements, and look at how much it is just taking down already. Would love to be able to see a kill counter on that dock with how many fishing boats it's going to end up taking down.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, it just takes so much away from you, and all he really needs is emplacements. And also, Mangonels, remember, they get bonus damage against ships. So another unit that can just destroy everything that B has been relying on in these ponds.
You know, it does make sense. If you're a ship and you just have a handful of rocks thrown on you, you know, come on now. You got to know it. Demo ships being popped out as well, just denying all of this water. And it seemed like B had a chance to stabilize a bit ago, but still is kind of getting that cockroach crawl all across the map, is just trying to get any resource he can where it's safe and secure.
Now, you're saying that, like, a mangonel, like, you're saying that rocks are a bad thing for ships, but what if I can't afford an anchor? Is it, like, a good alternative to an anchor? Because it would stop my ship just permanently in this situation. You know, I'm just spitballing ideas, but yeah, this is looking a bit rough for B. I mean, I'm starting to think that this could reach a point in the next 2 or 3 minutes where MarineLorD ends up being the one who's fishing.
Yeah, MarineLorD is investing heavily into this fishing. B has a good amount of Lancers starting to stack up, though, but will it come into question with MarineLorD's giant army that he has been able to keep alive in the middle? And we know how Ottoman are known for their massive militaries that they're able to get from those schools invested into early on.
I wonder what MarineLorD's vision like at this point, because I think while he can see what the eco is, I don't think he can necessarily see what the army comp is coming from B. Like, he's building some men-at-arms, he's building some crossbows, he's building some lancers, he's still building a few extra archers. It's kind of like he's ticking every box just in case he gets ambushed by B. So definitely a lot of respect being shown there. But I think with the way MarineLorD has built up this many archers, the upgrades coming through as well, even if he runs into 10 knights, it's not going to end his day. Especially when you consider that there's always going to be that attack speed aura to the advantage of the Ottomans.
Yeah, Lumber Camp giving MarineLorD some good vision on the bottom side where B's villagers are. B has his main army finally pushing up there in the middle. Looks like MarineLorD's going to send a raid on through that, and more outposts getting dropped here for MarineLorD in this mid-map. That is his recipe for success, it seems.
I mean, he's targeting the docks with lancers. This is not why you build lancers. And meanwhile, on the other side, the heavy cavalry MarineLorD is actually doing more work, right? With many less knights. Like, this is kind of problematic for B. He spent all this time to build these really expensive units in terms of time and resources. And so far, he hasn't been able to do anything, and he just revealed his hand.
Yeah, finally looking like the numbers are tilting towards MarineLorD. It didn't seem like, you know, based off the top side that B was in favor, but we had been talking about it for a while now. MarineLorD has been in control of this game, and it is finally looking like the scales are tilting heavier and heavier his way.
But don't worry, he's got that Kurultai killing an archer ship. It'll all turn around. I think you do get bonus torch damage with Kurultai. I haven't tested that, but I think it basically buffs almost any type of damage, so I'd assume it does here. Just doesn't feel like it matters much. Damage a little bit late for MarineLorD. And now, looking to force the fight on land. Now, B is forced to clash for this. He does, of course, have the Kurultai down, so the extra damage buff kind of offsets any attack speed buff that is now even gone for MarineLorD. Mangonel on the flank, a little bit exposed. If we can get one good shot here, could turn the tides, but B, at least for the moment, able to hold on. But now he needs to find a way of breaching the discount Maginot line. 1,000,001 outposts that have Springwind placement, rather.
Yeah, MarineLorD just kiting back towards those outposts. B just taking the most damage this game, it seems like, from outposts, but having a very effective fight here with the mass amount of Lancers he had. Weren't enough crossbows, there weren't enough spears to deal with it as effectively as he would have liked to, but it still just doesn't matter with how ahead MarineLorD is.
I feel like this entire game can be summarized by like a picture of B, then a giant outpost, and him, like, it being his blind spot, right? Like, that's the second time he's dove into static point defenses with his range battalion and essentially just lost the biggest chunk in the entire fight. Like, it's kind of weird how every time off these like static defenses, MarineLorD comes out ahead. And remember, behind this, he's silently been building up men-at-arms. You know, it's quite a bit into Castle Age. Usually this play happens at the beginning. But the fact that B never prepped a counter to it means that when MarineLorD does arrive in the next 2 minutes with 20 plus MAA, he could just look to end the game.
Yeah, when you do have a mass of Lancers, it's effective, but we just saw B's massive Lancers get pushed down into nothing now. It's trying to make that line up again, but B just going to struggle to get close to what the numbers. MarineLorD not only has the better eco, he has those military schools online that the Ottoman's just able to pump out those free units.
All I see is a situation where MarineLorD is setting up these MAA in multiple different locations to just poke and probe simultaneously. And the issue for B's army is, you know, outside a few Lancers, he doesn't really have the ability to react with the flanks. Like, you know, what is the big deal with the Mongols? We always say they have to attack, right? It's not really a great civ for defending, because while other civs can wall themselves in, they can drop castles to block areas, those options aren't available to B.
Yeah, B trying to get some return damage here with some Lancers all the way on the back side. Will get an effective charge or two, but you can already see MarineLorD ready with the Spearman, ready with an MAA headed that way.
Yeah, and this is where B, you see, he has to bring the whole army to defend this one little site. And if MarineLorD now just, you know, adds in a few extra knights and comes at different locations, all of a sudden B is going to be caught putting out fires when he needs to actually be setting them off.
Yeah, Trebuchet raining those rocks down upon the main town center of B, having that main landmark taken down. Lancers turn around, take down that one measly spear. Even though it's the counter unit, you need a few more than just one.
And keep in mind, losing that TC is really problematic, right? Like, you know, typically you'll see players actually build a new TC as opposed to repairing the existing one because of just how much idling it costs you trying to get that back up to full HP. Meanwhile, speaking of TCs, MarineLorD is confident there's enough food in the center that he wants to get a whole new eco line going here. So 2 TCs versus none, as B can't even save it.
Oh, and he tried to save it, but was just a little too late. And not only that, MarineLorD, as you mentioned earlier on, we were going to see him take the ponds. He has been fishing in the North Pond and has a good fishing eco built up there, whereas B hasn't been able to start fishing back in the Eastern one.
And MarineLorD, back when we saw a lot of Khalistan, you've got to give him so much credit. He was actually one of the best players to utilize berry patches. In fact, he was one of the players most consistently practicing deli for this map for that very reason. A keep drop in the center and then just take all that food away. He's doing the same here in a different format, right? Cheap outposts into a TC and all the gathering that you need in the world. It ensures that these ponds don't really matter to him. If they became a stalemate at any stage in this game as the game goes on, he never has to care. It's B who's relying on them.
Yeah, MarineLorD having that free siege pop out too. Got the Vizier point to be able to throw a unit inside there. They set up quicker and attack a little bit quicker, I believe. Reload 25% quicker, something like that. So very, very strong, as B will struggle to be able to set up any siege, but he's going to be able to struggle to set up an army actually now. 53 to 88 units.
B is making a gamble here. Instead of getting sprilled from what he knows is coming, he built Mangonel of his own because he's that threatened. It's a very high-risk play, but I actually appreciate that he's doing this. So many times we'll see a player just admit they need Springles instead, and you're just further behind, right? You're always reacting instead of getting ahead. This is incredibly gambly, though. When you're playing against this many crossbows with just 10 knights, I don't see a world in which MarineLorD ever loses these Mangonels.
Yeah, and the Mangonels, they're going to set up so much quicker with those whatever unit inside of there, so it really does surprise some people, and we saw how effective those rocks are on the ships, and yet again, not only that, Imam taken down, B trying to secure up some relics, trying to get some sort of eco going for himself, but He had MarineLorD in a corner. MarineLorD has now broken out, and B finds himself struggling and surrounded in the corner.
He stopped just short where the mango was hitting as well. He doesn't even get the maximum impact from the first flurry. That dodge, oh my, MarineLorD just so on point. One guy almost dies. Remember, these lances, they're hard to replace, so you can't afford to let them go down like this. Armor even use mangoes.
Connection.
I mean, this wraparound, like, he can't even get on top of it. The problem is, like, MarineLorD just has so many units that he's still fully in control of this battle.
Yeah, B did get one good connection, but it takes more than just one mangonel shot to take down those ranged units.
What? Wait. So, okay, this is kind of discombobulated on both sides. MarineLorD just, I think he attacked the Kurultai with the mangonels. And then B, instead of finishing the mangonels one by one, shot them both to one hit and then returned to the other one. This was a scrappy fight on both sides.
Not only that, I'm pretty sure a lot of the ranged units on MarineLorD side got clicked on the Springald as well. So wasn't effectively taking down B's infantry mass, but instead doing one shot and another mangonel shot. Not quite the juicy one, but still effective enough, but units will get healed back up with that Kurultai.
But now you go into stalemate again. Like, the problem with this is, like, it was a good fight from B. And it's like, if you imagine he didn't get a little bit scrappy with his Springald, like, it's even cleaner, and you start to believe. But behind this, you see MarineLorD isn't only just going up into Imperial Age. Look at the eco count now. He's dominant. B is on the ropes. The only reason he was able to hold there was the Kurultai placement. It's very difficult to offensively place these Kurultais when the fights move away from its location. So expect MarineLorD to pivot and then focus on the flanks where you won't have not only this damage buff, but this healing factor that makes it much harder for the mangonels to just snipe down all of these archers.
Yeah, B trying to invest heavily into those Springalds to counter out the siege that we just saw that was so effective for MarineLorD. But with Imperial Age coming through, all of MarineLorD's units will just get that huge quality buff as the upgrades come through. He can upgrade those Springalds with those roller shutter triggers, get the 2 extra range, and that effectively makes the siege war a little too easy.
Yeah, and now you see MarineLorD recalibrates. He's like, what's the counter to the Kurultai? Maybe we don't dive it. Maybe we just slowly push it away. And that's what the trebuchets are going to tip the box off. If MarineLorD just continues this path of dropping keeps and trebbing, it's kind of pseudo-English, right? But it actually will win him the game. And it will force B to commit under very strong defenses with a heavily unarmored army.
And yet again, we see B having to head for the hills with 20+ villagers running away, being idled, and not being able to gather those precious resources.
Well, precious is the way to refer to it, my little golem, because there's not going to be much left in this corner at this rate for B, right? He had to build a secondary TC down here, so he burnt a lot of wood. He has at least got a decent amount of gold, but I actually think if MarineLorD just drops a keep on this screen here, he has this kind of carved path to prevent B from getting anything he wants.
Yep. And the roller shutter triggers just came through, so Siege War will effectively go in MarineLorD's favor now. Not only that, we're about to see some incendiary arrows finish on up, so some fire arrows coming through as well for the massive range units that MarineLorD has. And that will also help with this little bit of range war we've been seeing here.
How would a fire crossbow design look exactly? Like, you wouldn't want to light the bolt before you fire, right? You'd have to have like a candle in front of the firing mechanism.
Yeah, little bit of some oil and whatever on the ground, and you just dip the end of the
bolt
in
that might burn like the crossbow. Like, I think you just dangle a candle in front, right? You get a little like extension piece out. And well, speaking of extensions, ooh, MarineLorD, that was important. If he got that castle up, he starts to just trap B. Meanwhile, because he keeps that open, B can essentially still be the nomadic civilization the Mongols were known to be, right? Pack up and move away if things get too bad.
B actually has a huge, massive units here. MarineLorD has some of his siege taken down. Only one Springald left for B, though. Mangonel's firing down on the backside. Still a good ranged mass on either side. Mangonel's trying to step on forward. And there's the 3 Mangonels just going to start throwing those rocks down on the effective counter mass. And unit after unit after unit of B taken down. Even though he had the numbers there early on, the siege is just going to be too effective.
It almost feels like the end is nigh, but that Kurultai once again saves the day. But you see how much more dicey it is now. MarineLorD understands if he has 3 Mangonels, he can kill any unit before it starts getting healed. So that X factor, the Kurultai, not just the damage buff, but the AoE heal, doesn't really matter anymore. Once again, MarineLorD's army does get blitzed, I'll agree. but this Mangonel count stays alive. They can be repaired. We get up to 5 Mangonels in the next fight. B has no solution to that. You can see that these horsemen, these lancers, they struggle to get around in the flanks and access the siege.
Yeah, he's just playing this so slow, so methodically, so, you know.
Is he going to lose it because... Oh...
Step curl tie.
No, that's... Oh, come on. Not like this. Like, it's not even done packing. Wait, but is this like a bug? Because it had a location and then it just disappeared? Like, was it because it got blocked for so long?
Yeah, I guess so.
Wait, where's it going?
I'm not sure. It needs to have a villager
it's
come
on its
over
way.
and help it out.
It desperately needs it. It's about 300 HP now.
Okay, but the big benefit there for MarineLorD, playing it slow methodically. He knows he's Imperial, B is not. B is running out of more and more of these resources. Even if he trades less than even, he's completely fine with it because he's had extra upgrades come through, and each fight he comes back with, MarineLorD's going to be stronger, while B is going to just stay in that same strength that he's at before.
Remember, MarineLorD's being efficient with these battles because, like, you can't just go, oh, he lost this much value and B lost this much value. Like, MarineLorD's playing the Ottomans. Passive production, right? In Imperial Age with an increased blacksmith rate. Like, he's actually not spending as much on these battles as you'd think, which is why I'd feel confident about him being able to casually build a surplus and even think about switching to Janissaries if the time ever came for it.
Keep on the western side, showing that B just has nowhere to go. Mangonel's having to fall back a little bit. B has built up quite a bit of a springled mass, and MarineLorD hasn't invested into the counter siege as much, only relying on his one single springled with the extra range.
I like what he's doing here with the men-at-arms play, though. Like, B actually didn't have as many crossbows as we were kind of perceiving, right? It's always been a 50-50 mesh of archers and crossbows. Makes it very difficult for him to just take the direct clash and kill this front line fast enough before the Magos change everything. Clash again.
Population capacity reach for MarineLorD, pushing on forward. Siege about to push on up. Springled's taking down. Oh, not yet though, but B also has his villagers getting taken down through this, as he has nowhere to go during this.
Yeah, he actually unpacked the Kurultai on the edge, but it wasn't buffing most of this mass. Like, B just needs to keep moving forward, shuffling the Kurultai into the fights. Like, he really would benefit from getting 1 or 2 traction trebuchets, because the rate this is going, if he just keeps doing this infinitely, he's going to lose, right? Because he's going to run out of resources first. And even if you just keep pushing in, you're going to eventually get blocked by that keep. If you aren't able to find a way of now layering in building siege, as in traction trebuchets, I don't really feel good about B's opportunity to turn this around.
Yeah, and you can tell that I think MarineLorD knows B's running out of resources, as villagers chopping wood in the front line in front of where B's army is positioned. There's no other wood on the backside really for him to grab, so he has to move out. He has no other choice than to go for this, but this is not going to be a good one for him.
Well, a big problem he has is, like, he wants to use this Kurultai fully. And usually you kind of gamble it, right? Like, you're kind of willing to gamble it and send it far in. But he's already lost one of his landmarks. So he has to play defensive with the Kurultai, because if he loses that as well, guarantee MarineLorD will just mass horsemen and torch down the final landmark. It's such an annoying position to be in as a Mongol player.
Quicker spread. Looks like MarineLorD finally saying this is his time to push forward. This is not a respectable army mass from B, and he has enough. B teching up with the Cognate Palace behind this, and MarineLorD is just going to keep pushing forward, taking down the villagers on the gold, and going to leave B with only Springleds to defend his army.
The timing could not be worse. B has made this choice, and it's now obvious to MarineLorD. He's probably anticipating the tech up coming, because where the hell is your army? Right? It's completely gone. B is about to be in single digits on military pop cap. 38 minutes into the game, and as soon as the tech up completes, he knows it is done. GG is called. MarineLorD will find his vengeance in round 2.
What a wild one that one was. The 12-ville start and the craziness there is definitely living up to the expectations, as that one was all over the place.
I mean, B definitely took the mobility of the Mongols to a whole new extreme when it came to their buildings. You know, honestly, it was starting to kind of
regurgitate feelings in many of us that we haven't seen since the release of the game. We're like, how close can this TC truly get? What are we looking at here? B definitely had some interesting ideas in that game, but MarineLorD, I love the way he pivoted. There's just so many small details that gave him the edge here, from the way he was able to manipulate water on a delayed timing, to the way that he forced a prolonged feudal of all these spear investments, and then the big deal, the one that I think was the most critical element to ensure MarineLorD cruised through to that easy phase of the game, was the posturing of his army when he was teching up to Castle Age. Make no mistake about it. If B had continued in and seen that build-up, he would have dove. He would have went full Divide. But MarineLorD done a brilliant job of blocking him just short of vision and ensuring that by the time the tech up completed, B was 20-30 seconds away from even doing damage.